If you could change any choices you have ever made, would you? You can always make another choice and change the course of your success. Everyone has the potency to make inspired choices. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the creativity that is you. Now, here is the host of Inspired Choices radio show, Holographist coach, Christine McIver.
Hello. Welcome, everyone. I am Christine McIver. I am the host of the Inspired Choices radio show and TV show, and I am the owner and CEO and founder of the Inspired Choices Network, where you're listening. If you're listening at our home platform, that is it. So tonight we have another show all about leadership. I think it's like a month of leadership topics that really want to come forth. And isn't it interesting? We are in December 2020. The new year is beginning. We're closing out one of the most challenging years of everyone's lifetime that is alive in bodies today. And leadership is at the forefront. So how much does leadership actually pop into your mind? Do you think about leadership? Do you think about your leadership skills? Do you consider yourself a leader? Do you think about being a leader or what it actually means to be a leader? We're going to talk about all of those things and even more. If you are listening live, I'd love for you to come on over and join us in the chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Feel free to join the chat room. You can ask questions. You can join us in the live studio taping, and you can type your questions in the chat room, or you can ask them live on the air, whatever you're comfortable with. But do bring your questions to the table. You know, my show and all of the platform hosts, they have such a beautiful open show program where they invite everyone to ask questions live. And this is like getting free coaching, free business advice, free consulting. And, you know, in a world where everybody is feeling the financial crunch right now, why not take advantage of these opportunities to receive from leaders? These people that have their own show here on the Inspired Choices Network are all leaders in their own right, and they're amazing. I listen to every single one of their shows, and I always receive something from each and every show. So I encourage you to do that. Before we get into tonight's show, if you're a first-time listener to my show, I am so grateful that you're here. And if you're wondering who the heck is this woman, like, what is this all about? I want to tell you a little bit about me. So I am a business coach. I'm a personal coach. I'm also what they call a holographist coach. It is a word that came to me, and it was a combination of a couple of different things. But in essence, what it means is I work with individuals and organizations to bring them in immediately into their desires. We start to co-create together, whether it's in your business or in your personal life, in your relationship, maybe even just with your own self-confidence. We start to create immediately where it is that you want to go. Because here's what I know, as long as we're always moving towards where we want to go, we're always going to be moving towards it. And what I like to do is I like to have you step into it immediately. We start to take action. We start to create so that you can start to receive immediately. So I've done different programs. One of my programs was called Up Your Ask. I have that program that's available for you. It's a fabulous program, especially beginning of the year, to start to really look at what you desire and start to plan out your year in that regard. I also have a program called The Pleasure of Business. And I love business. Business to me is such a fabulous thing. It's really my playground. It's easy. It's fun. It gets me turned on and lit up. And the hours of the day go so quickly because I love business. This is something that I love to teach people, how it can be pleasurable. And then I also have a package. I have it on special right now. It's a strategic business package. It's 7 hours working one-on-one with me, or me working one-on-one with your business, and helping to really plan out and get things in alignment to take your business to the next level. So if any of those intrigue you and you'd like to know more, you can connect with me, Christine, at inspiredchoices.ca. Send me an email. Just say, I'd like to know more. We'll hop on a call. We'll chat for half an hour. Let's see if there's actually a match, if it would actually work for you and for your business, and we'll go from there. But whatever you do, take action every single solitary day to move you one step closer to all of those desires. Because you know what? Desire is natural. Desire is part of being a human on this planet. Don't ignore it. Fuel those desires, and watch you change the world for yourself and for all of those around you. So tonight's show, let's get into it. Tonight's show is called Resisting Your Leadership. That's a question. Are you resisting your leadership? Do you resist stepping into the leadership role of your life or your business? Have you found yourself avoiding all areas where you are being called forth in the world? Do you know deep down that there is a leader within you? What if resistance is the poison of your success? Imagine that. What if the resistance that you are allowing is actually the poison that's killing the success that perhaps you're desiring to have? So let's talk about leadership. What is leadership? Now, if you've been listening for the last couple of weeks, you've been hearing me talking about leadership. And if you hadn't, it's okay. And if you have, we're going to do a little review. So first of all, leadership is not necessarily somebody that is the boss. That's number one. Okay. You can start your own business. You can be the boss, but doesn't mean you're going to be a leader in your own business, in your life, or even in your world. Leadership is not someone that yells the loudest. Leadership is not someone that even has a political position. Leadership is not someone that has all the money. These things, when you obtain any of these things, does not make you a leader automatically. Now, there are some people that are in those roles and they are great leaders. They're awesome leaders. There's leaders in the past that we can talk about, but let's talk about you and your leadership. So what is leadership? Leadership is to lead the ship, to take it forward, to be someone who has a character to lead, but not someone that is looking back to see who's behind me. Is there anyone following me? A leader is someone who knows, they receive an awareness, they have a knowing. It's so strong in their gut or in their mind. They can't hold it in. They actually speak forward about the leadership. They stand up and speak to the leadership, or they actually lead by action. They don't speak to what they're going to do. They start to take action, and people watch them. People view what they're doing. They see how they're creating. They see how they are behaving, what is actualizing in their life, what is actualizing in their business, what is actualizing in the world around them. A leader does not need people to approve them. Do you need people to approve you? Are you looking for approval in your life? Are you looking for approval in what you are doing? If you're looking for approval, then you may not be yet that leader that you desire to be. And what if you're resisting is actually creating a great deal of this. So this is what I really, really want to talk about. So what is resistance? First of all, I know we all think we know what it means. So this is interesting. If you've listened before, I use the online etymology for the original definition of words, which I think is fantastic. And resistance came from the mid 14th century. And it is, let me just quickly look at it. It's make a good stand against, meaning to be in opposition, to occupy the opposition of a ruling power. So it's to be in opposition. Resistance is being in opposition. So what are you in opposition of when you're allowing the resistance to come over you? Now, resistance shows up in a lot of different interesting ways. So one of the ways that resistance shows up is resistance shows up in self-judgment. Are you judging yourself? Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not a leader. I haven't accomplished these things. I don't have this experience. I don't have all of these accolades, these assets in my world. I don't have relationships like other people do that are quote unquote successful. Are you judging yourself? Judgment can also be a huge resistance, because when you're judging yourself, you have an excuse to resist the leadership that's trying to come through you. Now, every single solitary person in the world has a knowing. One of the things that really came to me a few years ago is that each and every one of us has knowing, has awareness that is important we bring to the table. And as it relates to bringing your voice forward, I often will be heard saying the conversation does not truly begin until you add your voice to it. The same goes with bringing your leadership to the world. We require leaders. We require leaders of integrity. We require leaders that are not afraid to be unique in their awareness. We require leaders who are willing to have people not agree with them. We require leaders that are willing to stand up for the person that is not able yet to stand up for themselves. We require leaders that have enough knowing of themselves that they don't have a problem speaking what's in their heart and on their mind. They're not waiting for someone to tap them on the shoulders to speak. Right? They are ready to bring forth their knowing. They're ready to speak to what they know and not worry about whether someone will agree with them or not. And so the value that you have of yourself, what you think about yourself, how you see yourself, the way that you judge yourself is a form of resistance to your leadership. Leadership is bringing forth your knowing. That is simply what it is. So you may be a leader in your family, you may be a leader in your business, or maybe you're resisting leadership even in a relationship. To be a leader is to be willing to step out and speak, be willing to step forward and to choose. Be willing to bring your voice to the world, whether it's one-on-one or it's on a platform like this. True leadership is something that people are yearning for. Every single solitary person out there loves a strong leader, that regards everyone with kindness And speaking the truth is kind. And you can deliver something that someone else may not agree with in a kind way and be a leader of absolute regard, be a leader of integrity. When you're ready to step out and you're willing to just step out into the unknown and be that leader, to say maybe in your family, if you have let's say you have a family gathering, right? Safely, please be safe at this time of year. But let's say you're having a family gathering and someone says something and you know that that's not true, or you know that that's not kind, or you can feel the energy in the room shift because it was something that didn't consider everyone, and you're willing to actually bring your voice forward while being kind to everyone, including maybe the person that said it, that's being a leader. But do you resist it because you're worried about what everybody else will think? So judgment is one of the greatest resistance to your leadership. We are going to go to our first break of the show. I have got a long list of where you might be resisting, where resistance may be showing up in your leadership. And I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to seriously look at, where have I been resisting my leadership? If you were to ask yourself that question every day for the next 30 days, I can guarantee you something. I can guarantee that your 2021 will be a year where you expand into more of who you be and who you came here to be on this planet. If you are here in this embodiment right now, we need you, and we need you to step up. We need great leaders. We need leaders in every walk of life. We need janitors who are leaders. We need teachers who are leaders. We need politicians who are leaders. We need people that build houses that are leaders. We need leaders everywhere. And we need leaders that are willing to take that step. So who out there is willing to ask themselves about leadership? I can't wait to hear your questions. I can't wait to read your comments in the chat room. Come on over to inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. Join us there. We're having a great time, and we are going to take our first break. So you're listening to Christine McIver on the Inspired Choices radio show here on the Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be back right after these short commercial breaks.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on our past experiences or what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join Inspired Choices radio show with holographist coach Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know but may not choose that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back and brings all her expertise during each and every show. Are you ready to create the life and the living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with holographist coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine at InspiredChoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward, everyone. Yes, you're listening to myself, Christine McIver, here on the Inspired Choices radio show. And tonight we're asking about, are you resisting being a leader? Are you resisting your leadership skills, capacities, awarenesses? Leadership is more than just being the boss. It's being willing to follow your knowing. It's being willing to follow your gut. Leadership is not someone who fights. Leadership is not someone who fights the loudest. Leadership is not someone who has the silver tongue. Leadership is not someone that can throw facts at you and push it in your face. That's not a leader. That may be someone who is well educated. That may be someone who believes that they know more than someone else knows. That's not a leader. A leader is willing to stand in their space, own what they know without making anyone around them wrong. Who do you know that's a leader? Like, who do you consider is a leader? What names pop to your mind? When you get some of those names, ask yourself, why? Why do I consider that person a leader? What is it about that person that speaks to me as a leader? One of the people that definitely, there's two people that pop into my mind oftentimes, is Barack Obama. I consider him a real leader. I love the way that he uses his voice and his knowing and his awareness with facts. And while, I know that he does not agree with the current leadership of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, I also know that when he speaks about the leadership today, he is not someone who criticizes to the point of defaming that person's character. That's not what he does. Another person that I love is Brene Brown. I think Brene Brown is someone who has done her work. She's done her research. She uses facts and she couples that with her knowing and her awareness. And she's willing to get uncomfortable in order for her to really get to that space of her knowing and get something that's very, very clear. It's really fascinating when you start to look at people. What is it about them? Now, when you look at someone and you go, that's somebody I consider a leader, and you look at why you consider them a leader, then looking at those traits, do you recognize those traits in you? You see, oftentimes, this is a very cool thing, my friends. Oftentimes, when you can recognize something in someone else, you can also recognize them in yourself, because you cannot be aware of something without embodying it to some degree. So ask yourself about these people that you see and you consider a leader and what it is about them. And then ask, where do I see that in myself? Where do you see that in yourself? Are you willing to see that in yourself? One of the big, Cherie says in the chat room, he's compassionate. He's a wonderful listener. He truly understands that the leader sets the example and leads from the back. Yes, that's amazing. Now, a leader can be the boss. A leader can be the head of some kind of group, but it's really very telling with their behavior if they really are leading or they are the head of that group. Another place you can identify if you're resisting your leadership, ask yourself, am I resisting receiving? Now, when we think about receiving, we often think about receiving something wonderful, don't we? If you are resisting to any degree receiving accolades, how many of you out there have had somebody compliment you and you had a very difficult time receiving it? Has anyone ever said to you, you are fantastic at X? and you go, oh no, it's not a big deal. It's really easy for me, blah, blah, blah. Anything like that. If you have someone actually acknowledge and compliment you, and you feel any of those walls starting to come up, you are resisting receiving. And when you're resisting receiving, that resistance stops you from being more of a leader in your own life and showing up as a leader in the world. My friends, please work on that. When that first was brought to my attention, I started practicing with people complimenting me about different things. If someone compliments me about my outfit, someone compliments me about my hair, someone compliments me, something very simple. If someone compliments me, I give them a very beautiful response. Thank you. Thank you. And you know what? Those resistance, I can still feel them coming up. And I be as much space as I possibly can. And I say, thank you. Because here's what I know. Number one, I came into this world to bring my voice forward and to lead. I came here to be a person who contributes. I came here to be a person who shows other people what is truly possible for them. That turns me on and lights me up. I absolutely love when I meet someone who is so passionate or aware or knowledgeable about their body of work. And I love to show them what's possible for them to bring it even more and more out to the world. One of my most favorite things that I've gotten to do for the last 7 years is to show people how to bring their voice to the world here on the network, how to bring their voice and their beautiful faces to the network now that we have TV as well. That makes me so, so happy because I love, I honestly am one of those people that if I find a restaurant that is fabulous, or I find a product that's fabulous, or a movie that's fabulous, I should get paid by that company because I will tell everyone I love to bring amazing things and amazing experiences and amazing people to the world. When I find somebody that is brilliant, I want to share them with the world. And that's something that really excites me. And so in doing that, I step up with my leadership skills and with my voice, and I share with them what I know. And there are times that I have had to many times say to people, you know what, that's not going to work. And I can say it to them without being unkind, and yet be able to help them see it in a way that contributes for them and their future. I'm not resisting someone being angry with me. Can you say that? Can you say that you are actually willing to receive even someone's anger, even someone's dislike? Because when you're really willing to receive, you're willing to receive all of it. Here's another way that you know that you're resisting. Are you resisting being wrong? Oh my gosh, that's a big one. That was a big one in my world. I'm telling you, when I would bring my voice to the world, I would hold back so many times in saying something because I was resistant at being wrong. I didn't want to be wrong because I didn't want people to judge me, because I worried about people liking me. Well, a leader doesn't necessarily care if people like them or not when they're bringing their voice to the world. Now, we all want to be liked and loved. That is the natural thing for all human beings. Absolutely. When you're willing, though, to be wrong, you're also willing to be right. So how many of you out there are not even willing to be right? What does it mean to you if you are right? Are you worried that if you are right about something, somebody's going to push you forward, that you actually have to do more and say more and show up even more? Are you resisting that? Do you know what? If there is something on your heart and on your mind, if you have an awareness about something, my friends, you came into this body, into this time and space to contribute to the world. I am begging you to really look at where the resistance is stopping you, where you've bought into things that are not true or do not necessarily need to be true, where you can truthfully step up and be the leader that we require. So, are you resisting being wrong? And are you resisting being right? Both of those can take you down a very, very long rabbit hole. This resistance is such a big thing because it's not, being a leader is following what you know. It's not figuring everything else out. It's following what you know. When you're willing to continuously look at yourself and look at what you've been creating and look at where you are and the bumps in the road that come up for you, and you're willing to keep diving in and continue to evolve as your own self, as your own leadership. I am always upgrading myself. I'm always looking at where else can I grow? What else can I be reading? What else can I be learning about me so I can fine tune who I am and what I am being in the world? When you are willing to acknowledge that there's still room for growth, that also is a beautiful way to go on a self-discovery of your leadership capacities. But you've got to be willing to look at this resistance because it's everywhere. It is everywhere in so much of what we are doing. We're going to go to our second break of the show. When we get back, I have a bunch more of areas where I would love for you to look at in regards to resisting leadership. Imagine what the world would be like if we were not resisting our leadership. What would your world be like if you truly stopped resisting your leadership abilities? I'm telling you, my friends, one of the wonderful things that will start to occur is you'll have a greater experience of yourself when you allow what you know to come forth and you let the resistance go by the wayside. So we are here on Inspired Choices Network with my show, Inspired Choices. My name is Christine McIver. Tonight, we're talking about resistance and leadership. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on our past experiences or what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join Inspired Choices Radio Show with holographist coach Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know but may not choose that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back and brings all her expertise during each and every show. Are you ready to create the life and the living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices Radio Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you ready to have pleasure with your business? Yes, I said pleasure with your business. The Pleasure of Business a la carte will surprise you with topics like meet yourself in the boardroom, money, services, and you. Expand your visibility. The pleasure of communication. The pleasure of Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Christine McIver has so much pleasure with business and loves teaching all things business. Beginning a new business? Desiring to expand a current business? Or looking to resurrect a business that has been dormant? This program will get you fired up and bring more pleasure than you have ever imagined. Exhausted with your excuses for not creating a phenomenal business? Join now for all the pleasure with business. Pleasure of Business a la carte gives you total choice for what you desire and what your business requires. That's 24 weeks of different topics to choose from with weekly calls, audio and video recordings, and PDFs. This class will have you dive right in and use tools to create the business that has been speaking to you. Go to inspiredchoices.ca for full details or join the Facebook page Pleasure of Business a la carte. Now is the time for you and your business.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with holographist coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Welcome forward. Welcome back, wherever you are, whenever you are listening, whether you're listening live or you're listening in the replay. I'm so grateful for you to be here. I'm so grateful because what I know is speaking more and more to more individuals that are willing to be leaders in the world creates the world that I desire to have. What is the world that you desire to have? What do you desire to see in the world, in your family, in your relationship, in the relationship with yourself? What do you desire to have, to receive, to create? Are you willing to seriously look at your leadership capacities, where leadership is flourishing in your world, where leadership is lacking in your world, where you step into being a leader, where you resist being a leader? Are you willing to do that so together we can create the world that we know is absolutely possible? One of the things that can poison you to your leadership capacity is belief. The number one thing that poisons your capacity to be a leader in the world is your lack of believing in yourself. When you feel insecure, when you hesitate showing up in your world, when you hesitate following your desires, a lot of the times, what is at the root of that is your lack of believing in yourself. My friends, let me tell you something. There's more times than not that I didn't 100% believe in myself, and I chose to step forward anyways. So many times doing my radio show. I've been doing radio since 2011. Like, I've been doing this for a long time. And if you've never heard this story, you'll have a good laugh. If you have heard this story, well, just hear it one more time at least. My very first show I ever did, I cried for the first 15 minutes of my show. Now, I tell every one of my show hosts this because I want them to know that even as I step forward in being the leader in my own world and in the Inspired Choices Network, that, you don't always have to know every single solitary thing to follow an urge, to follow a gut instinct. And you can mess up beautifully and still come out of it and move forward. I don't always believe in myself. I haven't always believed in myself, but what I have believed in is the desires that keep coming forward, what's on my heart that keeps asking to be acknowledged. And that is one of the things that has me believe more in myself each day. And I continue to work on my beliefs in myself. This is an area that, we all have those areas where we need to grow. And this is one of the areas for me. And this is not unlike many leaders in the world that did not have the self-confidence when they first began. They didn't believe in themselves. They didn't know how to believe in themselves. And this is one of the things I love working with individuals and with business owners and with people that want to bring their voice to the world. This is a piece I love working with them on, because when you believe in yourself, you can overcome any hurdles that feel like mountains. Another resistance that can show up is when you are having trouble believing in your capacities. How many of you do things but really don't think you're doing great at it? How many of you have abilities and capacities, but you are ignoring how brilliant you are at them? You're not giving them the love and attention. Exactly. And Jen says, or comparing. Exactly. How many of us are comparing ourselves to someone else? If you continue to resist your capacities and you continue to compare yourselves to other people, you are resisting being a leader in your own life. Now, here's what I absolutely know is that as I grow, I can lead people that have not yet reached where I have reached. I believe we are all on the same path. I think at the basis of most human beings, they desire to grow and be happy and create a world of joy and love and abundance, whatever that abundance looks like. And I believe that people genuinely, at the root of who they are, care about other people. That's what I really do believe. And I know that as each and every one of us steps forward, as we grow, we can reach back and we can assist someone else. Now, reaching back does not necessarily mean physically reaching back, but as you bring yourself forward and you continue to make yourself grow. And what I mean by that is consciously choosing, okay, there's an area where I'm having trouble. I used to have a really challenging time with my temper. I'm not going to lie. I used to have an incredibly difficult time with my temper. And I would lose my cool left, right, and center. And that was something that I had to begin to acknowledge. And I had to begin to say, okay, this is not working. This is not okay for my life. This is not okay for my body. This is not okay for my relationships. I needed to look at this area. Are you willing to continuously look at yourself and be willing to do what it takes to lead so that you can be there in the world when someone else is looking for guidance? You see, we're all here together. We just may be at different places on that path. But when you're resisting being right or being wrong, resisting being judged, resisting receiving good or bad, resisting believing in yourself, resisting believing in your capacities, resisting believing in your abilities, resisting believing in your knowing. How many of you look to other people for their knowing? How many of you are continuously reaching out to someone else to get confirmation from them instead of beginning to do the work within yourself to cultivate and fan your knowing that's waiting to come to the world? Do you resist your knowing? It is absolutely one of the greatest poisons that will stop your leadership success is the resistance in your knowing, the resistance to speak. And your speak doesn't necessarily mean the spoken word. It can be the spoken word like this. It can be writing an article. It can be speaking up for yourself. It can be speaking up for someone else. It can be part of a movement. Now remember, a true leader shines a light on where change is possible, and a true leader is willing to be wrong. But a true leader does not need to make anybody else wrong in order to be a leader. One of the biggest things that really spoke to me about a month ago during the U.S. election, the 2020 U.S. election, there was a lot of people. Of course, it was a very impassioned run for the leadership, and people on both sides of the political parties were very, very passionate. And one of the things that really bothered me was people that were supporting the Democrats were criticizing the Republicans and the Republican leader about how they were doing things and being unkind and different things that they were choosing. And I happen to agree that that type of leadership was not successful, was not kind, and certainly was not long sustaining. After the election rather, and when it was declared that the Democrats had actually won, a number of Democrats that I follow or would see on Twitter or Facebook or social medias, a number of them came out and started to say things about the Republicans, about the Republican leader, about the people that followed that party or were part of that party. They started to use a great deal of the same behaviors that they criticized, they ridiculed prior to the election. Now that, to me, that is like wrong. No, that is not being a leader. You cannot say one thing and then turn around and do the exact same thing that you are criticizing other people to do. Invite people into being a greater person. Invite people into being more humane to each other. Learn to be a leader that cannot be criticized because of how they defame other people's characters. Being a true leader in the world is the desire to create greater with and for everyone. In my world, that's what a true leader desires and shoots for every single solitary day. And everyone includes yourself. Do not be self-sacrificing. A leader that is self-sacrificing is not going to have a leg to stand on, because we happen to be on planet Earth and it requires money. This is how this world goes around. You cannot be a leader without also having financial resources to lay your head, to step out into the world, to create a business, to create a platform, whatever it is. This is required as well. So ensure that you are including yourself in creating greater and in the prosperity. Okay, we are up to our final break of the show. This show went really fast, didn't you think? It went really fast for me. And I love talking about leadership. So I'm so grateful that you are here. Please stay tuned. We'll be back after these short commercials and we'll close up all about leadership. So stay tuned, everyone. You're listening to Christine McIver on the Inspired Choices radio show here on the Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back.
Many of us make choices in our lives based on our past experiences or what others believe. What would our lives be like if we made our choices based on what we desire for our futures? When you join Inspired Choices radio show with holographist coach Christine McIver, you'll be provoked to look at what is true and what you know but may not choose that requires your attention. Christine does not hold back and brings all her expertise during each and every show. Are you ready to create the life and the living you truly desire? Listen for Inspired Choices radio show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Inspired Choices Show with holographist coach Christine McIver. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also make the choice to ask or comment by email by sending to Christine@inspiredchoices.ca. Now, back to the program.
Hey everyone, so happy that you're here. We're talking about resisting leadership. We've gone through a lot of areas where resistance can be hiding or showing up under some other false mask, as it were. And if you didn't hear the whole show, I would really encourage you to go back to the beginning, because it's so important that we, each and every one of us, step up with our leadership abilities in the world. The world requires you right now. Do you have the capacity to be a leader? And I'm going to tell you that you do. Every single person that has the desire on their heart to create a greater world has the capacity to be a leader. You can learn how to bring your voice to the world. You can learn how to grow. You can learn how to change some of those character, I don't like the word defects, some of those character traits that are not as attractive as you would like them to be. You can learn to be with yourself and let go of all of those areas that are less desirable. You can learn to step into more and more of who you truly be. There are people in the world, including myself, that love to work with individuals that desire to grow. There's nothing more fantastic than to have a client who desires to grow. That is exciting to me, when we both show up at the table and we're both excited to create and to really move you forward. And you know, one of the best things that every single person can do is to actually hire someone who has their back and is willing to hold them accountable and challenge them. And when you're willing to be challenged, you're willing to really grow into more and more of yourself. And that's one of the greatest things that a leader will want to do, is actually challenge themselves so they can grow into their capacities. Remember, there's a lot of poisons in the world that will stop you in your leadership. The poisons are the judgments, the dishonoring of who you are, the, talking down to yourself, comparing yourself to other people, judging yourself, allowing judgment to stick to you from other people, right? If you can look yourself in the mirror at night and know, I did a good job today, I chose to step up, then you know that each and every day, no matter what, you're going to move forward and you're going to grow. And the world is going to be a better place because you chose to step up. Remember, my friends, I would love to hear from you. I'd love to connect with you. If you're looking for support or ways to grow in your business, let's connect. If you're looking to bring your voice to the platform, to the Inspired Choices Network, we have some amazing things going on where we're even creating in TV now too. And lastly, I would love to invite you to really lean in each and every day and ask yourself, where am I resisting being a leader? And just look at that. Just allow whatever is going to come, to allow it to come forth so that you can grow. Next week, we are going to be talking about you cannot do it all in business. There's a lot of entrepreneurs out there. There's a lot of soulpreneurs, especially that I meet, that I speak with, who are trying to do it all and are having a lot of struggles happening. So that's going to be next week's show. I'd love for you to come and join me there. Remember, you can connect with me on my personal website at inspiredchoices.ca. You can send me an email, Christine@inspiredchoices.ca, or you can find me here at the Inspired Choices Network. You can catch me on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, you name it. I do get around, and that's okay. So wherever you are in your world, whatever you're doing, I want you to always know that wherever you are is okay, as long as you're choosing each day to take one more step, to reach out and ask for support, because you didn't come here to do it alone. And there are amazing people in the world that really do desire to support and assist people to grow when you are ready to grow yourself. If you are being a leader in the world and you're ready to bring your voice even greater to the world, let's talk. I'd love to share with you what the Inspired Choices Network is creating and how we are bringing voices to the world, all over the world. It's so much fun. My friends, until next time, I want you to remember, you can always make another choice. Take good care, and we will see you on the flip side here at Inspired Choices Network or on one of our 200 platforms. Until then, bye for now, my friends. It's been so wonderful having you.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Inspired Choices Radio Show. Christine McIver will return next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, be willing to choose what you really desire. This is your life, making the choices that bring you all that you desire.